I believe that everyone should have something materialistic that they want, but at the end of the day, just keep it as that, a trophy. Let's say the Lambo, right? People will buy a Lambo and get all excited. And look, a man in a Ferrari told me this when I asked him, does the excitement go away after a while? Because we were both in his Ferrari and we're driving on State Street here in Utah. And everyone's just looking over at us and just looking. In fact, I was actually wearing the sweater, now that I remember. And that day, something in me changed. I was like, so this is how it feels to get all the attention on the road just because you're riding around in a very nice car that's out of the average or out of the usual. And I asked him, does the excitement go away after a while? And he's like, honestly, yeah, it does. But it's cool because it comes back when people are like, oh, like the Ferrari and stuff. And he's like, it comes back and it makes you feel good about yourself. But at the end of the day, it's just a car. And that's when I realized that, yeah, it's just a trophy. You get that excitement from that trophy you earned, right? You get that excitement like, oh shit, you look at it the next day, right? Then 3 days after you look at it and you're like, damn, it's a really nice looking trophy and I earned it and I know what I had to do, right? But then after a while, let's say 2 or 3 years later, you're probably gonna look at that trophy and be like, oh yeah, I remember that time. Like it's sick that I still got it, right? At the end of the day, materialistic things are just that, a trophy. So there's a deeper purpose. If you dig deeper, there's a deeper purpose to life than just the materialistic things. Because like we just said, they're just trophies. So what is it that actually matters? In my opinion, it's the intangible things. For example, becoming very wise and knowing what to do in very tough situations, or being able to help someone out of the rut that they're in, out of the depression they may be in, or being able to help someone financially so they can make their own profit, right? Like they say, feed a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man a fish, and feed him for life, right? Like I mentioned, I'm not trying to get too philosophical here, but I've just been woken up to something that you can say it's life. Those brain receptors have opened up, and you can even say that I'm using more than 10% of my brain when it comes to something like this, of this topic, because most people will live life through a black and white lens. But when you finally find the color and the light, that's when you can actually be like, okay, yeah, there's so much more color to life than this black and white lens that I have on me. Let me take that off. And once you take that off, that's when you're actually woke. You're super woke. And I believe I'm in that position right now. And the reason why I say that is not to boost my own ego or anything. The reason why I say that is because for a solid 2 years, I've already been alone by myself, nothing to run to, no one to, to cuddle up with at night. No, I just been by myself, and I've honestly preferred it that way. And the reason why is because if I truly want to do something in life, I'm the one responsible for that, not anybody else. You can have $1 million mentor, like this man in the Ferrari, right? That I was riding with, that I actually just met because he was driving down this like low-key, underground street, right? It wasn't underground, but you know what I mean. And I literally just stopped him and I was like, hey man, like I want to ask you something. Hey, I gotta ask you something. Caught his attention and he looks at me, he's like, what's up, man? Because he was driving really slow through that street, right? It wasn't like a main road or nothing. It was like a little street that has like a few bars on the side and stuff. And so I asked him, And like, how'd you do it? Obviously, you get that question all the time. But how'd you do it, man? Obviously, I don't want to be like this for the rest of my life and just be stuck like the rest of society and just be average. How'd you do it, man? And he looked at me, he's like, Alex, honestly, I was just like you, asking rich people the same thing that you're asking me. And we sort of built a relationship from there. And from there, I realized that you can have $1 million mentor, someone who's made it, who's made more than enough, right? But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to actually make a change and an improvement and evolve. It's up to you, not anyone else, because you think he gives a shit about my success like I do. I'm the one that's living with me every day. I have to deal with me every day. What makes you think someone's gonna hold you by the hand and be like, okay, look, this is what you want to do, and you want to do it like this? He's not my dad, and not even my own dad did that because he was always busy working, right? Now, my point is that you need to be responsible for your own life decisions, okay? Because if it were to hit you and you were to be left with nothing, you're still with yourself. You're still with yourself. You're dealing with yourself. No one's going to come and change it all for you. You need to put action in your part, inputs from you. No one's going to do it for you. Now, I believe there's a deeper purpose to life than just materialistic things, and I believe that you find that on a journey with yourself. Just like I've been with myself for these past 2 years, I've been praying to God for the same thing every day, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. Same thing. And it's not tangible things that I'm praying for. What it is just wisdom, and to be able to become the person that I need to become in order to actually succeed. Because right now, if you're not successful, it's obviously because you're not the person you have to be successful. And I've been praying for the same thing. And look, if I'm being honest, I've gotten so much sleep paralysis. And ever since we moved here to West Jordan, it got even worse and worse and worse. And I was like, obviously, there's something not good attached to me. They came and blessed the house and everything, and it still kept going on. They had me even try like burning some, I don't know if it's sage or it's like some little herb, and not even that. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with me? Like, I've had this sleep paralysis thing for years, probably since 2016 or 17 when I was in high school, right? And it's horrible, man. I don't wish it on anyone, even my worst enemies, which I don't have any enemies, right? But if I were to have an enemy, right, I wouldn't wish it on them, because it's something that you can't really control as much. It's almost as if you're tied up with your hands behind your back, and you're just a punching bag to whoever wants to punch you. And you just have to take the hits, and you can't move and you can't do anything. You're just taking hits back and forth, left and right. But it's funny because I've come to realize that the reason why it is so attached to me and it doesn't want to let me go, for years it's happened, is because this is what I've been told from people who are actually very spiritual and very open and wise. And they've told me really what it is. It's two demons, two visitors, you can call them, right? And it's two of them. They don't want to let you go. There's a reason why. That reason may be because you have a gift. And I've come to realize that. And I've started to actually use that gift. And as woo as it sounds, at this point, I don't care who's listening because I'm honestly just documenting this for myself to look back on. But it's funny because not too long ago, I've wanted to become a morning person, right? And I couldn't wake up in the morning, couldn't wake up. I'd be waking up at like 11 or 12 p.m. And I was like, man, I want to be waking up at like 7 a.m. at least, 7 or 8 a.m. the latest. And honestly, it's just, I didn't like that I wasn't able to wake up early because I wasn't able to get shit done properly and start on an early start rather than, just waking up when everyone's having lunch, right? And I didn't like it. Obviously, I didn't like it. I became a person who was like, no, I need to wake up. I know what I need to do, and I got to do the work, and I got to put this shit in, man, the inputs, so I can get a certain output, right? I wasn't able to wake up. As soon as all this pain started happening to me of going through all this that I've been through, I've just prayed more and more. And not that I've become super religious, right? I'm not trying to preach here, but my own journey of just praying and saying, please protect me at night before I go to sleep because I don't want to fucking deal with this shit. And it got to the point where I honestly preferred not to sleep than to actually sleep, because when you're sleeping, that's when you're most vulnerable. You're very vulnerable when you're sleeping because you're unconscious. And that's when you're able to be attacked very easily from whatever, right? Human or spiritual. Now, it's funny because through so much prayer that I've done, I've now found myself in a position where I've been able to use a gift so much more than most people can, but so much more than I'd ever thought I would. And I know there's certain people with a gift to be able to, let's say, read a palm or to be able to do certain things that the average person can't. I'm aware of that. And if you're not aware, then, you're probably pretty close-minded, because believe me, the brain can do so much more than you think. Everything is energy. Everything. Okay? Everything is energy, and good energy you can feel. Bad energy you can also feel. It's only a matter if you're actually awake to that. Because most people just live life, day to day, doing their thing in society, blind. Let's face it, most people are sheep. And they choose to be that way because comfort kills. But lately I've realized that maybe I've been given this curse, you can call it, for a reason. To not only strengthen my faith in God, but to also strengthen myself as a person. Because believe me, it gets to a point where you can only beat the dead horse so much. And that's honestly how I feel. You can't hurt me anymore. Nothing can hurt me anymore, because you can hurt your leg and get a scrape, right? Or even worse, shatter your knee, and you'll probably go to the doctor and, have a cast and walk, limp, and probably have to have some crutches. But when it comes to something that you can't do anything about, but rely on prayer, that right there is when shit hits the fan, because it's like even your own mother can't do anything about it. So what do? Do you just not sleep? What the fuck do you do? Seriously. So I believe this has all happened for a reason. And I may not know exactly what that reason is right now, but I just know that the same prayer I've been making since the end of 2022 is coming finally. And that prayer is to help me become the person I need to become in order to succeed, help me become more wise, and help me become fearless and full of confidence. And I believe you're full of confidence when you have something that most people don't. And in this case, obviously it's some type of pain that I've been going through, a huge pain that I've been going through that just won't stop. But it's also the ability to be able to predict things and to be able to have certain visions that most won't have, and they come to life. And then also be able to feel what people are thinking and their emotions that they're going through. Because like I told you, it's all energy. If you can feel energy, you're pretty woke. And I don't mean this to boost my ego or nothing, but same goes with you. If you feel like you can develop something like that, I would 100% do it. And I'm not saying become a tarot card reader, become a woo-woo motherfucker. No, I'm saying actually believe in yourself. And I know it's hard to believe in yourself at first, but I'd say go all in with the journey that you know you have to take in order to become a person that's more wise and innovative. Because if you stay stagnant, there's no such thing. If you stay stagnant, really, you're just going down slowly. But if you stay innovative, you're always going to be moving up, even if it's 1% a day. At least you're improving. Progression is progression, whether it's 1%, 2%, or 3% a day. So today, I went to sleep last night at 1:30, woke up at 5, exactly at 5. I said, what the hell? And I wasn't even sleepy when I woke up. Last night, no sleep paralysis, thank God. Made a big prayer and actually felt something. 2 nights prior to that, woke up exactly at 6. It's crazy. I don't know why exactly on the dot of the hour, but today when I woke up, I really wanted to go back to sleep. And I even tried for a little bit, 17 minutes. Tried to go back to sleep and nothing. I just couldn't. I said, you know what? Maybe I was awakened for a reason. Yesterday, I overcame a big fear that I have at the moment. And that's the ability to cold call, right? I have an agency that I want to grow. And without any action, it won't grow. But you can do cold calls for months. As soon as you stop, it's like you're starting all over again. You get that nervousness again. And yesterday I was able to bust a few calls. And lately I've been getting none but rejection. But yesterday I got a guy that was like, yo, I really dig the business model you have. You're obviously doing it different. Let's talk. I'm like, cool. And honestly, the excitement in me rushed. So I faced a big fear and I felt really good about it. And I said, you know what? From here on out, I am taking this so serious because client acquisition is my favorite fucking game. And that's all I've been telling myself. Not something that most want to do, right? Most don't want to solicit, most don't want to sell something, most don't. But what if it's what you have to do in order to actually grow a business? Because without sales, there's no business. You're just in a hobby, right? So when I woke up at 5 today, I tried to go back to sleep, couldn't. Said, you know what? I was awakened for a reason. And that reason was probably just to be able to sit down and do what I have to do. I don't play any video games. I don't watch TV. I don't sit and watch a series or a movie. this is all I got playing. Just videos of mansions and lavish lifestyle. That's all I have playing, because it's not that that's all I want, but to me, that is the sign of success. Freedom. To me, a Lamborghini is a trophy that you earned. Nothing more than that. Lately, I've learned so much about myself because of the journey I've took myself through. And that journey has had a lot to do with this pain that I've been dealing with, that no one could do anything for me besides myself having faith that it's gonna go away. And boxing has been a big part as well, because when you're extremely exhausted, believe me, you learn a thing or two about yourself. And I feel like that's when you're most connected to God too. When you're extremely exhausted and you just can't throw another punch anymore, or when you're very lonely and depressed, I feel like that's when you are most open to a connection with the higher power. And I really have enjoyed boxing the last month that I've been doing it. We've only been at this house probably like over a month, a little over a month. And ever since the move here, life has changed in good ways and bad ways. Bad ways because sleep paralysis thing got so much worse, way worse, right? Thankfully now it's cooled down a little bit, but like I didn't have it last night, thankfully, but I had the night prior, right? And it's almost every day. And at this point, you can't hurt me anymore. So I'm like, well, either way, I gotta sleep, so I might as well. But life's changed ever since we came here. And I believe it's because it's more of like a new beginning that we've commenced. And it's a new beginning for something great. And that something is extremely great, but that something is something that I've been praying for years. And I feel like it's finally coming. That wave is coming. So once that wave hits, you gotta be ready for it. And consider me prepping myself for this wave. Today we're just gonna bust out call after call after call after call, and I'm only on 4 hours of sleep. You can say 4 or 5. And I'm wide awake right now. I'm not sleepy or anything. I literally just busted out 100 crunches. Yesterday I did 100 push-ups, and those 100 crunches, help you do something hard in the beginning of the day. The first accomplishment of the day is first getting up and making your bed, right? Brushing your teeth. To me, that's the first 2 accomplishments. And third is some form of exercise, but 100 minimum, 100 reps minimum. Whether it's push-ups, whether it's crunches, 100 minimum, okay? I usually do 145 or 150, just for the fuck of it, but 100 minimum, okay? After I've wanted to start the habit of meditating, just because at first I would hear all these successful people meditating and stuff, and I'd be like, it's so stupid. Like, really, come on, man. Let's get serious. Like, what did you actually do to get rich? And I know they just didn't meditate. That isn't the only thing they did to get where they're at, but they said it helps so much, right? And I've always been like, man, that's just some silly shit. Like, who the fuck meditates, right? I recently started doing it about like for 3 days, not in a row, but like solid 3 days that I've already meditated. And I don't know, if it reminds me of the movie Soul, made by Disney, where it just shows you another perspective to life. And that perspective is something that most people wouldn't even consider. That movie just, I'm not saying that, oh, you need to go watch it, it's gonna change your life, but the perspective on that movie gave me a new lens on life. A new lens. And I recently meditated just now before making this video. And the reason why I even want to start meditating more is because most people live bombarded by distractions every day, whether it's advertisements on billboards, TV, the news, on their phone, people are bombarded with distractions, and it's mainly because people have cell phones. And it's so easy to get distracted by notifications, by social media, by all these things. And honestly, the last month, you can say last month, I've minimized the use of social media so much that most people thought I seriously fell off the planet, because I just haven't posted anything. All I've been posting on is threads. And that's because every time something comes to mind, I need to let it out. And it's something that just keeps coming to mind. My mind is just filled with so many thoughts and so many inspirations and quotes and so many things that just come to me that I need to let it out. And I feel like Threads is probably the only social media platform I've been using, but I literally just use it to write what I write, and I'm not trying to become a poet or nothing, I promise you, but I've just been, whatever's in my head, I just let it out. And I feel like when you let your creativity flow, you develop a superpower that not a lot of people have, and that's imagination. Albert Einstein, one of the most knowledgeable geniuses men on earth, one of the most smartest people on earth, you can say, that once lived. He even said, it's imagination over knowledge. Imagination is so much more important than knowledge, because you can say knowledge is a textbook, very black and white, and imagination is the creativity, right? The creativity, the color to life. That's how I view imagination. So I suggest you stay innovative and stay creative. Stay creative. Okay? Never lose that creativity that you have. And when you have momentum going for you, do not let go of that. Because to have to start all over, fuck, it sucks, man. It sucks to have to start all over again from scratch because you let go of your momentum. When you're on an incline and you have that momentum going for you, stay creative, stay innovative, stay in momentum. Because once you lose it, you're fucked. I promise you that. And I say that from experience, okay? I was busting out 30 calls a day, 50 cold calls a day. And I was on a roll, and my confidence was rising because I'm like, I'll fucking call anyone. But I let that go because of distractions or whatever it was. No, I'm gonna just work on the back end of the agency and stuff. No, I let that go, and that's where I fucked up. All right, that's where I fucked up. So I suggest you stay innovative, you stay creative, and you stay moving, all right? Money, the word money, it comes from the word currency. The word currency comes from the word current, like a current water flow. It's moving, it stays moving. If you want to progress in life, you have to stay current. Keep moving, or else if you stop, you're just going to decline, and you're going down. There's no point of stopping. At least move 1% in progression a day, because at least that's some type of movement. Although it's slow movement, but at least you're progressing 1% a day. Progression is progression, all right? Whether it's 1%, 2%, or 3%, like we said. Stay innovative and do not lose momentum at all costs, because momentum is your best friend when you're on a roll. So stay innovative and stay creative, all right? I just had to let this out. And honestly, I'm not doing it to lecture anyone or to, become some type of YouTuber making all these videos. No, that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for my own journey. And on the way, in that journey. I'm documenting everything. And I'm just being very open and very, what can I say? Very open, and you can even say vulnerable, because I'm not holding nothing back. Why would I tell you this if it was some shit that I made up, right? It's tough, man. It's tough going through certain things. And I won't lie to you, it's very tough being in my shoes. But who am I to play a victim? Nah, fuck that, man. But I'll say this, and I'll end it on this. Any motherfucking hater that I have now or have had in the past would not last a day and night in my shoes. And I guarantee that, because I was barely able to do it. Last a whole day and night in my own shoes. So just know, you gotta stay creative, man. That's the only way you're gonna do it. Stay creative and keep that momentum. All right?